Sweetheart. 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 You awake? Sleeping like a log. Snoring like one too. Wait, can logs snore? They don't even sleep. Never mind. There we go. Look, sweetheart, I wanted to tell you something. How do I put this? I'm going away. I don't know for how long, and I don't know if I'll ever come back. To be honest, I don't think I'll ever come back. And that's probably for the best. I'm not going to hurt myself before you panic. Fuck, I should have phrased that better. God, I sound like a crazy person. They're fucking asleep. I'm turning myself in. I have a box and it's full of everything. Photos, USBs, stolen personal items, trophies, my laptop, etc., etc., etc. Enough to make a forensic scientist cream themselves. And a written confession. I wanted to tell you while you were awake, but I knew you'd protest. And I think that's one of the reasons that I have to do this in the first place, you know? Probably not. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. For everything. You have been so good to me. And I did nothing to deserve any of it. Let alone your forgiveness. And you inspired me so much. Pushed me to be a better person. I owe you. A lot. Though, I don't think I can afford to pay you back. Oh, the joys of late-stage capitalism. Yay. Honestly, I don't know what to say. I should go. I know I should go. I am being such a coward, dragging this out. Do you remember when we were kids? You were so... what's the right word? Angry, spirited, passionate? Passionate. You were so passionate. This little spitfire that ran around driving teachers and students alike up the fucking wall. And constantly picking fights with people twice your size to stand up for what you believed in. Who swore up and down that you were average height when you must have easily been the shortest in our year. I think I still have a scar from when you punched me in the stomach for saying you were like a chihuahua. And you were my best friend. I'm not one for reminiscing. You know I'm not. I have way too many painful memories, regrets, made far too many mistakes. And I prefer moving forwards, opposed to looking back. But I can never regret you and the time we spent together. Even if it was just us pissing around and causing havoc just because we could. Hell, I can't even imagine life without you. You were by far the best thing in my life back then. Even when you got us in trouble or took a joke a bit too far. And you still are. Did you know that when I first took you and saw the news reports, the missing persons posters, the tearful appeals for you to come home, I felt nothing? I felt nothing. I took you from the people who you loved more than anything, and I couldn't have cared less. All I cared about was that I had you. Good. You're still asleep. I watched them, of course. Every news report, every police statement, every update. I needed to keep an eye on the investigation, just in case. Not that they ever found anything of substance. You were just walking home from work one night, and then, poof, you disappeared off the street, never to be seen or heard from again. But still, I was paranoid. I still kind of am, to be honest. Not that it matters at this point. You begged for updates, pleaded for them, and every time I refused. I don't even remember why I did at this point, to be honest. It's not like it would have changed anything. I just didn't. Swept under the rug. Just another cold case. Small mercies, I guess. You were so angry when I first brought you here. Just this screaming, thrashing ball of venom, even with the gag and the zip ties. And I think I remember one particular profanity-laden outburst about you swearing to defenestrate me by drop-kicking me out a window. I was terrified you'd hurt yourself, either by accident or just to spite me. So I had to sedate you for the first couple of weeks, months. Honestly, it was pretty on and off. Mostly when you were most difficult. I didn't want to, believe me. Despite my best efforts, I wasn't able to get a hold of your medical records, and I was terrified you'd have an allergic reaction and go into anaphylactic shock and die. But even with all that shit going through your system, you still found a way to glare daggers at me. Honestly, I was impressed. Of course, once you figured out I was spiking your food, you refused to eat what little you were previously willing to have. Repeatedly. Even when I offered privileges, like letting you watch the news or use a toilet by yourself. Or gifts, like your favorite book series or art materials to encourage you. You were starving yourself. So, I had to force feed you. It hurt every time, having to force food down your throat, only to watch you vomit it back up half an hour later. And I try to coax you to eat with so many things. Your favorite foods, little bite-sized snacks, pick and mix trays, yogurt, smoothies, fortified milkshakes, fucking trail mix, and nothing worked. And then I threatened to kill you. I didn't mean to. I never, ever had any intention of hurting you. I promise. Both because I couldn't bear to, and because, frankly, it was counterintuitive. Corporal punishment doesn't work. People aren't dogs. They don't learn not to do something because you smack them around. They just become resentful and better at hiding it. Knowing you, it probably would have just hardened your resolve. It sounds cruel. I know, but it's just the way things were. I wanted you to eat so badly. And you were being so stubborn. I lost my temper. And just slipped out. Without thinking. And it worked. You ate as much as you could without resistance or complaint. I apologized profusely afterwards, but I couldn't deny that it was effective. And I had a new weapon in my arsenal, even if I only used it sparingly. I didn't threaten you often, only when you were a danger to yourself, or you refused any other option. I apologized every single time, without fail. I felt so guilty. I couldn't not say sorry. But results were results. When threatening you stopped working, as it did from time to time, I threatened your loved ones, your friends, family. I'd hurt people for you before. I killed people for you before, and I had the little mementos and trinkets to prove it. Your abusive ex's favorite scarf, your work friend's wedding ring, your old flatmate's antique locket. You knew I would gladly do it again in a heartbeat. And so you behaved, and slowly but surely, especially when the revelation that I was not going to let you go fully set in, you started to eat at your own volition. You stopped fighting back so much after that. Maybe you were just too exhausted. Maybe you didn't know how to. Maybe you didn't want to anymore. And slowly, ever so slowly, over the course of a few years, we rebuilt what I can only describe as a camaraderie. You started to laugh, and joke, and smile again. I was so happy. It was more than I could have ever hoped for. I was content with you hating me for the rest of your life. If only you were with me. If only you were safe. But never in my wildest dreams did I imagine you reciprocating. But then I listened to you. Properly listened to you for what was probably the first time in my entire fucking life that I found my blood run cold. You were parroting back everything I'd said to you. Every justification, every paltry excuse, every shitty premise for my pathetic excuse of an ideology. You'd accepted it. You didn't even bother questioning it anymore. You'd internalized it. You defended it. You sounded batshit insane. And I realized I'd ruined you. In making you live like this, in making you think the way I think, I'd undermined everything that made you you. I'd stomped out the embers of your fire. I'd filled your head with chemical smog. I'd torn up your broken boards and replaced you piece by piece, not bothering to think if you'd be the same person when I was done. I'd fucked up one good thing in my life. I killed the person I'd fallen in love with. No amount of info dumping about our latest special interest or staying up late playing Mario Kart or making up stupid debates about who would win in a fight, Godzilla or King Kong would ever make up for that. It would be Godzilla, hands down, by the way. If Kong ever dared to look at the giant radioactive lizard the wrong way, his ass is getting vaporized. Sorry. I just need a minute. I can't make up for it because I crippled all your foundational beliefs. I ate away at your identity, corroded your moral compass. This isn't you anymore. It's just a stranger wearing your face. Moral values run deeper than a hyperfixation that lasts a maximum of a week before burning itself out. Who could have guessed? You're fucking monkey pawed myself. I took you, but in doing so, I stripped away everything that made you special in the first place. I took away your fight, your curiosity, your hope. Everything left was superficial. All because I was so fucking selfish. I wanted to keep you safe, but it turns out I was always the greatest threat to you, sweetheart. God, that's such a stupid nickname. It was supposed to be an ironic jab at your frankly rather vulgar personality, but I don't know, maybe I just fucking cursed you instead. Do you want to know the stupidest part of all this? I don't believe in Stockholm Syndrome. Or at least, I didn't. And I thought it was a crock of shit. And there's no consensus for it, you know? Nobody can agree on what constitutes or how it's caused. It's under-researched and evidence for it is sparse. Some argue it just doesn't exist, and rather it's just a combination of other things like trauma bonding, battered wife syndrome, and learned helplessness. And that's what I believed, personally. For fuck's sake, it's not even in the DSM-5. Not that that's definitive proof of whether something is real or not. And there's an ever-mounting push for disorders like maladaptive daydreaming disorder to be formally included that haven't yet, but you get my point. Like I said before, I was perfectly content with you hating me from now to the heat death of the universe, provided you stayed with me. I never expected you to become sympathetic towards my outlook. And even if it did exist, would this case even qualify? considering we knew each other before all this? Probably not. I don't know what to believe anymore. It's messy and makes no sense, and I would say that I need to stop going off on tangents, but this entire conversation monologue has been a tangent. What I'm trying to say is, I have to fix this. I have to fix you. I owe you that much. And this is the only way how. I've left a note on the bedside table explaining everything for when you wake up. It's been almost 5 years. I've put this off for long enough. I think I'm finally ready. Now that I've gotten that off my chest. Oh, you're up. Sorry, did I wake you? I was just saying, I'm ready to head out. There's something I need to do really quickly. Nothing you need to worry about. It's nothing major. I'll be back before you know it. Go back to sleep. I love you. Sweet dreams.